Hello, my name is Mariana, and this is a reading today for Capricorn. Capricorn, I've done your reading with my own deck as usual, so the cards you'll see are from this deck. And I have to say, there are a few similarities, Capricorn, with your reading today from yesterday's reading for Sagittarius, because we are also beginning with two cards, so it's like this double opening up of your reading, but also because the last card from this first part is the card that was at the bottom of the deck for Sagittarius. So it's almost like functioning as it's like it's like this it's like this arc that is continuing. It's almost like the end of Sagittarius is the start for Capricorn, but also it's talking about this connection perhaps that you have significantly with a Sagittarius, because I don't know if you've seen yesterday's reading for Sagittarius, but it's talking about them learning to save themselves while they wanted to save others, or people that they loved, that they saw that were struggling, and they wanted to help jumping inside the water, but then finding that they couldn't. And I feel like Capricorn, it's like your story today is the other side of the story. It's like you are one of those people, especially because the first card was the last card from the first part for Sagittarius, which is the Ten of Swords, that was symbolizing for them two people specifically that were struggling inside these turbulent waters, which I feel like it could be Capricorn. You could be one of those people for Sagittarius, but because here is the Justice card, so these two cards are opening up your reading today. And as I'm saying, it's like there's this sense of continuation from yesterday's reading into yours. So perhaps you are in relation to their storyline, but being inside the water and learning yourself how to change your destiny, right? That was the message from yesterday's reading. But I want to say, Capricorn, it's like although you feel like you begin struggling, right? We begin with the Ten of Swords. It's like there has purpose in it. There has a time for the scales to be put in balance, to be set. It's like the records have to be straight again. But it's like there is this higher understanding of what justice means for you, right? Because I'm seeing like, it's like with this card initiating your reading today, it feels like you have been struggling, Capricorn. It's like your life has been a turmoil of events that perhaps left you with a lot of distrust issues, or it's coming through as it's like perhaps you have been doubting your own spirituality, or doubting your own connection to your higher self. But I want to say it's this reframing of what divine justice means for you. It's like there is higher justice at play here, but it requires you taking this leap from the minor arcana into the major arcana, which was something that was a little bit present in yesterday's reading too, about shifting dimensions and jumping into a new dimension, but doing so as a self-rescue in a sense, right? And so what I'm seeing here, because these two cards are opening up your reading, Capricorn, it's like you have to shift your own belief of what it means to have justice in your life. So look at your own struggles, look at your own issues, and see them as purposeful, as meaningful, as lessons that were there to play a certain part, to bring these scales into balance again, right? Especially because I feel like this is the last thing that you have to overcome, in a sense, right? To really understand that this divine justice is here for you, right? um it's like this high contrast of something unfair and something really fair. So but they're together here. This is the reason why I'm talking about, like, um shift your own perception of what you have been seeing in your own life, in your own struggles, as really unfair, as like, uh okay, so as blaming the universe for throwing unfair stuff at you, when really they are very purposeful, right? They are supposed to bring this balance again to you, to bring this divine justice to you, right? And I feel like you are understanding it. You are at this moment in time that is crucial, that things are, it's like, it's like here the weight of the world was on your shoulders, and here it's like you can balance things out, so they're not depleting you anymore, right? Things are balancing out in your life. And I feel like this is all because of this Judgment and the Sun, and also this card too, which I'll just include right now, but we'll talk about these two first. So the Three of Wands here following the Sun. But the reason why I'm talking about this realization that there is divine justice at play here for you, it's because it's the time for you to really shine brightly. You know, everything that you were struggling with until this point is now over. But there is this redistribution of the weight that you were carrying, right? And so, just a second. Sorry, I'm back, Capricorn. As I was saying, there is this new distribution, this redistribution of the weight that you were carrying on your own, blaming the universe perhaps, you know, for throwing things that were unfair to you, that you were just stacking and stacking and stacking on your mind and in your, it's like, you were taking a lot of things onto you and blaming it on the universe, but the universe was throwing things in order to rebalance the scale. You see, it's like there was an imbalance before, and this is the reason why this is just, this is fair, because it is the time for you to move on from the darkness onto the sunlight, into this brightness of the sun. So whatever struggle you lived your life really under, right? Because it feels like it's been a long journey, a long, heavy journey, Capricorn. But one that now is at this point of coming into balance again, because now is the time for you to really be blessed by the sunlight, because it's like this Judgment is talking about whatever you have been through has been necessary to just correct this scale, right? And so now is the time for you to be under the sun, for you to bask in this sunlight, for you to really enjoy this warmth, the coziness, the it's like it's coming through as a warm embrace, but also it's coming through as, I don't know if you'll be able to see. Do you see this circle here in the middle, which is actually the point of balance here? It's coming through as the sun. And so with the Three of Wands, it's almost like it's one of these scales, one side of it. So right now, because what you have been going through was balancing this scale. And now is the time for you to really understand that instead of looking at one of these plates, right, blaming one or the other, meaning you or anybody else, you or the universe, it's like there is this duality here with the two plates, that it's either you were blaming yourself or you were blaming another, right? So the imbalance was the blaming, because you were only looking at one of the scales at a time. You couldn't see both. You couldn't see this point in the middle, which feels like this is the point of balance. This is the sun. This is the source that keeps this scale in balance. And this is what you were missing before, because you were only in one side or the other, right? You were only, it's like you were prioritizing one scale or the other with your whole energy. This is what the Three of Wands is talking about. And it's like you realize that there is, in order to find this divine justice, there is this need to find this center point, which is coming through as this source of light, this source of, it's coming through as it's like the void, but the void that is filled with energy, because you thought that you putting your energy in one side of the scale or the other was either completely unfair to you and fair to the other, or the opposite, right? It's like this, it's this unbalanced state of seeing things, of perceiving what is justice, right? Whether it's like the verdict, right? It's like, so far it was very clear for you that it was either yes or no, black or white, right or wrong, you see? And so you were always tipping the scale one side or the other, one side or the other. And so here it's like you thought that the energy was coming through either side of it. It doesn't matter which one you picked. But really, because now is the time for you to really find this void, which is actually filled with so much light, is because you're looking to this center point that is really helping to bring things into balance. So there is no need for you to choose one or the other, or to blame yourself or another or the universe. You see? It's like things come back into balance, because and when is the time to really find this center point here, you see? And so the shift that happens, because, so this is the interesting thing here. Do you see, before I go to the bottom line, so you see this triangular shape here, right? It's also here, one of these sides of the scales, right? So it's pointing upwards, right? This is because of the Three of Wands also is talking about how you put a lot of energy into one side or the other, as I said before. But once you find this true balance, that it's in between them, not picking one side or the other, or blaming one side or the other, finding this point of balance, because it is the time for this new perception to come through, right? It's like you understand that this triangle of energy, so the three to me has this meaning of co-creation, of a dynamic energy that has to be constantly in movement, right? In order to really create something. It's like this spark, especially because we have fire here and we have light here. So we have two sources of light really, but one that is never ending and one that requires, it's like it requires work, it requires your impulse, right? So this is a source that it's independent of you. You see, this point in the center is independent of you. You can choose to be in the center, or you can choose to be on either side of the scale, right? If you choose to keep this with this, it's almost like this extra work that you have to do to create something using this source of creation. But when you pop into this source of creation, you find balance and things get easier. Things are less draining. Things are less of a struggle, right? And you know, that's the thing about fairness here also, because things become easier and lighter, because you find the true source of balance, of equilibrium, of justice, really, right? It's like you understand the difference between what you were trying to do and what you now can do, what you are able to really tap into create, you see? And you do so. I feel like this is so because there are all of these triangles here and they're going, you know, in all directions. It's like what is fair is not what is on one side or the other, is what is in the center, is what is in the middle, because what's in the middle can go anywhere, can go any directions. It's like you have no boundaries. You have more than just two options, right? Because here it's like it's like restrained, you know, from having only two options or only two paths to choose, and thinking that that was fair, but really very draining, right? And thinking that either it was fair or either it was unfair, and usually going for the unfair part of it, right? Or the perception of it, right? But when you realize that what's really keeping this in balance and keeping this light and just is because the source of this creation or this co-creation is not something that you need to put all of your energy in. It's like you're just connecting to this eternal source, which is the sun. You see? So this is independent of you. This is completely dependent on you, on your work, on your time, on your effort, on your energy, right? And this is where I feel like things shift, because we have the King of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. So as I said, the Seven of Pentacles was the bottom of the deck at the Sagittarius reading yesterday. So this is the reason why, you know, not only the first card was also present in the first part of the reading for Sagittarius, this was the last card. Actually, this position was this card yesterday for Sagittarius. And this card, the Seven of Pentacles, was the bottom of the deck at the extended. So it's like, it's almost like this sense of continuation, as I said, but because you're starting with this card and ending with the Seven of Pentacles, it's like this is your chance, Capricorn, for you to really understand that whatever you're seeing as unjust or unfair in your life at this moment is actually very, very not only just, but mostly beneficial to direct you to this never-ending source of light, right? That makes things lighter and more balanced, and actually brings you this it's almost like this trick, right, to turn whatever you were putting so much effort, so much time, so much energy into wanting to create something, but really not. It's like you were too up in your head, or you were too depleted by your own thoughts, by your own misjudgment, right? But when you really understand where this source is, which is, you know, at the center of this balance of the scale, it's like you embody this wise perception of the King of Swords that sees their energy as kind of like a motor for you to really use for your own benefit. So the Seven of Pentacles yesterday came through as, you know, Sagittarius was trying to teach others and those that they love, which, you know, is feeling like your side of the story now, right? They were trying to teach you, in a sense, Capricorn, how to thrive, how to survive, but also how to thrive, right? And this is where I'm seeing you doing this for yourself, but finding justice in what you're doing and finding logic, but also finding that it's like there is this shift in your thoughts, in your mind, for you to really realize that you don't have to keep on. It's like using a technology improperly. Because what I'm seeing with, you know, the Three of Wands and the Ace of Wands, you know, the difference, especially because of the King of Swords in the middle, it's like before you were seeing creation as something that it's like you were following the path of others. So what I'm seeing here is like, you know, old cars, right? That had to be, you know, the motor had to be ignited by those wheels, I think. So it was something that required, you know, something that you had to do with your hand. But nowadays you can, you know, you can just push a button if you have the key on the side, and suddenly your car is already on, right? The motor is turned on. So what I'm seeing here is that you shift from this unfairness belief, right? This it's almost like coming through as following beliefs that were put inside your head in a sense, right? For this type of creation. So a lot, it's like, it's almost like that belief that for you to really create, you have to put a lot of hours, a lot of effort. You have to put everything that you have to deplete yourself. You have to get back home and you are exhausted and you don't have energy for anything, you know, that kind of thing. And so this is the old way of doing things that, you know, for you felt like very unfair because you had no energy. You were putting all of your energy into trying to do things with your own hands, but understanding that, you know, really when you find the real source that keeps things in balance, it's like you can only push a button and come back to this, whoops, come back to this lighter position, light state of being where things are easier and flow with more, with peace, right? And justice. But, and so this is the shift that happens here. It's like you are now seeing logic as something beneficial to you. So it's like you're learning how to use this technology. It's like you don't need to weigh things as people did in the 10th century or the 5th century, or I don't know, last century, right? You can upgrade what it means to have divine justice. It's like this is the technology, and the duality of it is not helping you use it, right? It's like you have to understand the logic behind this technology, which feels like archaic from your first point of view, unfair. But when you realize how to use it, it's like this Ace of Wands, because it's here, right underneath the Sun card, it's like this is the true source that you can, it's like this is the embodying this sun energy that you can use for your own benefit, right? So this Ace of Wands is coming through as like one of these rays, one of these triangles, right? That you can go any direction. You don't have to choose between two. You can choose much more than just one or another, right? And so this is what you're seeing here. It's like when you see that, it's like you have this spark of creation that is always tapped to this source that is never ending. And therefore, well, it's here too, right? So with this circular shape, it's like you have multiple possibilities. You have multiple options. It's like you don't have to be stuck here thinking that things are unfair or fair, right or wrong. Things have multiple perspectives, multiple perceptions, especially when you go to the center, when you find yourself here at this point, right in the middle. Because now from there you can go anywhere. And this is what the Seven of Pentacles is talking about. When you find this source of light that it's like when you tap here, it's like you pick one of these, right? And you bring back with you this sunlight And this is like this potential to go to so many different paths, right? So it's like you are here in the middle and you have like a 360 degree option, right? It's not just one way or another. It's like all encompassing. It's like you are surrounded by so many opportunities. So, but I feel like that's a shift when you really understand what this divine justice means for you, right? So it's like this upgrade of this technology. Instead of using it archaically, you know, with this sense of duality, and when you really tap into the source of it all, which is never ending, which is the updated version of this technology, right? So I'm going to pull more cards for you in the extended Capricorn, but also I'm going to pull from the astrological runes. So if you want to join me there and see what options there are for you next, once you really tap into this sun source energy, we'll see with the rune also as a final guidance. So if you want to join me there, I'll be happy to see you. If not, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.